What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to No Offseason Media. I'm your host, Amari Sports. In today's video, I'm going to go over the Week 3 picks. But let's recap what happened Week 2. I went 5-11 on my Week 2 spread picks, and straight up, I went 10-6. But before I get started, don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to comment, and subscribe for more content available. And don't forget to click the notification bell wherever it may be. It will notify you whenever I post a new video. Anyways, let's get it started. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is favored by 4.5. And I'm going to take the Browns to win this game and to cover. Whenever TJ Watt does not play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are 0-5 in their career with TJ Watt not playing. Mitchell Trubisky's confidence is deteriorating. They're not passing the ball as effectively as they had in years past with Big Ben Roethlisberger. And this is going to be an issue because the offensive line for the Steelers is still bad. Like, it's still awful. And Matt Canada is doing the best he can with the players that he has that are very limited. And I think that with Pittsburgh, they're going to be limited offensively, and defensively is going to have to rely on Pittsburgh to carry them, and I don't think that's going to necessarily happen. And I think Cleveland's rushing attack is what's going to hurt the Steelers defense, because they were not able to stop when New England kept rushing the ball, and New England was just milking the clock with the final 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. So I like the Browns to win this game and to cover. Cleveland wins 24-17 over Pittsburgh. Kansas City Chiefs at the Indianapolis Colts. Kansas City is favored by 6.5 against Indianapolis. I like the Chiefs to win this game and the Chiefs to cover. Since 2011, the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-1 in Lucas Oil Stadium. And number 2 reason is that Matt Ryan hasn't won a game in over 9 months. And I think that that's going to be an issue for the Indianapolis Colts, because the Colts are a very slow starting team. We have seen this last year with Carson Wentz when they started 0-3. So I like the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game 30-23. The Baltimore Ravens are at the New England Patriots, and Baltimore is favored by 3 points. And I'm just going to take the Ravens straight up to win this game and to cover against New England. Number one, the Ravens are pretty much shell-shocked at what happened last week against Miami. And number 2 reason is why I'm going to take the Ravens in the spot is because Bill Belichick has struggled against dual-threat quarterbacks in his career. That ranges from like Russell Wilson, even Lamar Jackson himself, he has struggled. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, even Tua Tagovailoa. We have seen Bill Belichick defensively have struggled against dual-threat quarterbacks. I think the Ravens want to come back after that Week 2 loss against Miami and come back and go on the road against New England and prove a point that, hey, we're still a team to fight in the AFC, despite blowing a 21-point lead to the Miami Dolphins. And a stat to keep an eye on this one is that the Ravens haven't won in Foxborough since the 2012 AFC Championship, which was Ray Lewis' last game in a championship game for the AFC. So just something to keep in mind on. But I'm going to take the Ravens to win this game and to cover. Ravens win 27-20. Houston Texans at the Chicago Bears. Houston is a 2.5-point underdog against the Chicago Bears. I like Houston to upset and defeat this Chicago Bears team. Number one, these are 2 very bad offensive teams. Number one, Chicago's defense is bad. We're thinking that Chicago's going to be like a 4-win team. And I think that Houston's defensively is something to prove. They also held Denver to 16 points. Now, was that an indictment on Nathaniel Hackett as an offensive coach, or was that praise for Lovie Smith? Only time will tell. But I will take the better offensive line, which is the Houston Texans, and I'm going to take the better scheme fit, which is the Houston Texans defensively. So give me Houston to defeat the Chicago Bears and upset. I have the Texans winning 16-13 over the Chicago Bears. Las Vegas Raiders at the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are 2.5-point underdogs against the Las Vegas Raiders. I like the Titans to win this game and to cover against the Raiders. Number one, Mike Vrabel has pretty much owned Josh McDaniels' offensive play calling. Mike Vrabel has held Josh McDaniels to 19.7 points per game in their 3 meetings. And that includes holding Josh McDaniels to 13 points and to 10 points. So I really like the Tennessee Titans. They got blown out against Buffalo. Okay, I understand that. But Buffalo's a really good team. But this public side is going to have to be on the Titans in this situation. Number one, I'm not seeing the Derek Carr to Devontae Adams connection. I'm just not seeing it. And this line is actually inflated because the Tennessee Titans were favored by 1 point before that Sunday game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Raiders. And as soon as they saw that Buffalo Bills and the Titans matchup, all of a sudden, everybody started betting heavy on the Raiders. I think the Tennessee Titans bounce back after getting blown out on prime time like any normal team would. And I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to defeat the Las Vegas Raiders. Tennessee wins 26-24 over the Raiders. The Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo comes up as a 5.5-point favorite against the Miami Dolphins. This line could move down to 5 or even 4.5, but I'm going to take the Bills to win this game in the cover. All Buffalo's wins have always came in double digits, and Miami has always struggled against Buffalo. The last time Buffalo has even lost to Miami was back in 2018, and the quarterback was Ryan Tannehill, and that was Josh Allen's first game against the Dolphins. Since then, the Dolphins have struggled. Number two only has 1 touchdown in his career against the Buffalo's defense, so check right there off the box. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills in the 5.5 points, and Buffalo defensively is better than the Dolphins. Buffalo offensively is better than the Dolphins. So give me the Buffalo Bills to win this game and defeat the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo wins 33-20. The Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota opens up as a 5.5-point favorite against the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions to cover, but I think Minnesota wins this game outright. The Lions are a good covering team. That's number one. Is that since last year, as an underdog, they're 12-7 against the spread. But besides all that, these two teams have played against each other last year, and each victory has always came down to a game-winning touchdown or a game-winning field goal. Each team won by 2 points, whether it was 19-17 or it was 29-27. And I think that the Lions will come in here and will fight tooth and nail until the end, until those 000 show up. And I think the Vikings will win this game outright. The Vikings win 23-19. The Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Jets. The Cincinnati Bengals are favored by 4.5 against the Jets. Part of me wants to take the Jets. Part of me wants to take the Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals straight up and to beat the New York Jets. This is panic alert. If the Bengals can't win this game, it's pretty much season is over. There is no way they're getting back. There is no way they're going to come back and get into the playoffs with this gauntlet of a conference called the AFC. And number one is that Joe Burrow has been sacked 13 times. That is the leading in sacks allowed for an offensive line. And he just got this offensive line. Okay. Joe Flacco, in his record when he was in Baltimore, has a 9-11 record against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm just going to take Cincinnati as a safe pick. Some people are taking Jets as an upset. I like the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals win 24-16 over the New York Jets. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders. Philadelphia is favored by 6.5 points against Washington. I'm going to take the Commanders to cover, but I think the Eagles still win outright. The Eagles just played their best 2 games of the season against Detroit and against Minnesota. They're due for a big letdown game. Now, is this going to be the letdown game? I don't think so. But I don't think they're going to be covering a 6.5-point spread against Washington. I understand the Washington's defense is bad, and I understand the offensive line for Washington is very bad as well, too. But here's the thing. Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, they like to extend plays. They like to play a little bit of hero ball. And I think that with Carson Wentz extending this play, I think it will kind of frustrate Philly a little bit. And I think that with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, a little bit more of a better receiving core than Minnesota, despite having Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. But their number 3 receiver, Curtis Samuel, is better than Minnesota's number 3. It's just the problem is Carson Wentz is a turnover the ball like Kirk Cousins does on Monday night. And that's exactly what I like in this matchup. I really like the Commanders to cover this game against the Eagles. The Eagles are a very good team, don't get me wrong. But one of these games is going to be a letdown, and I think it's going to be closer than anybody expects it to be. And I think this is the game. This is the game that they're going to be circling on here and say, we want to do this for Carson Wentz and get revenge. So I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to defeat the Washington Commanders 27-23. The New Orleans Saints are at the Carolina Panthers. New Orleans is favored by 2.5 points against Carolina. I like the Saints to win this game and the Saints to cover. Number one, the Saints are 4-1 since 2017 whenever they play against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium. Number 2, in those matchups, they always held the Carolina Panthers to at least 13 points on average. Number 3, Baker Mayfield has struggled against good pass rushers like Cam Jordan or David Onyemata at the defensive tackle, or even Marcus Davenport, and handful of more. The front 7 of the Saints is just going to suffocate the offensive line for the Carolina Panthers, and that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think I'm going to take the Saints big in this matchup, despite Jameis having 4 fractures in his back. I think the Saints win this game and cover. Saints win 23-10. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Los Angeles Chargers. This game has everything, all question marks in my head. I'm just going to take the Chargers to win this game and to cover. Keenan Allen is going to be questionable. J.C. Jackson is going to be there and playing. The offensive line for the Jaguars is what I worry about. That's the only thing that I worry about when it comes to this Chargers front 7, is how they're going to block Bosa, how they're going to block Khalil Mack, how they're going to block even Kyle Van Noy. I have no clue. I don't know who on the offensive line is going to pretty much step up to the plate and do that. And that's what I think I'm going to take with the Chargers. I think the Chargers defensively will carry Justin Herbert despite having rib cartilage issues. So I'm going to take the Chargers to win this game and to cover against Jacksonville. Chargers win 31-20. The Green Bay Packers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is favored by 2 points against the Green Bay, and I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game and to cover. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers struggles in Florida. The last time he won a game in Florida was back in 2016 against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 1. All right. Number 2, we saw Aaron Rodgers come down to Tampa. He lost 38-10. We saw Aaron Rodgers come down here to Jacksonville against the Saints in Week 1, lost 38-3. So it seems like the Packers are struggling in Florida. Same thing like New England. I think these cold weather teams come down south. The humidity is very hard for them, and I think it's going to be a major issue. And I think the Packers are suffering the exact same fate in this point. So I think that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers just can't handle the hot heat down there. The Buccaneers are leading the league in sacks with 10 sacks through the first 2 games. And I think that with Rodgers struggling against good pass rushers like he did with San Francisco, like he did with the Rams back in the day, I think that when Rodgers feels a lot of pressure, he tends to kind of quit on the team. So I like the Buccaneers to win this game and to cover against the Packers. I think the Packers will hit an all-time low like they did against Minnesota and the Saints did against New Orleans back last year. I have the Bucs winning 22-10. Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals open up as 3.5-point underdogs against the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover, but I think the Rams win at the end of the day. Number 1, Kyler Murray in his career since 2020. It's 6-2 in September games. Okay, Matthew Stafford has led the league in interceptions pending on last year, but this year he has more interceptions than touchdowns. All right, and then number 3 is that the Rams offensive line is pretty much a big issue, and we're not seeing it. They let the Falcons hang around. They let the Buffalo Bills beat the brakes off them defensively. It's so many issues that we are seeing with this Rams team. And I think there is a Super Bowl hangover occurring because it happened to Sean McVay back in 2019. So it's just so many issues here. And I think the Rams will be caught napping a little bit, but I think they'll find a way to have a game-winning drive and beat the Arizona Cardinals. I have Los Angeles Rams winning 27-24 over the Arizona Cardinals. Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is favored by 2 points against Atlanta. I'm going to take Atlanta to win this game and to upset Seattle. Seattle didn't score anything offensively against San Francisco. All right. And the Falcons were hanging around with the Rams last week. All right. I don't know what is wrong with the Falcons about winning these games and with Seattle, but I don't understand why Vegas is favoring Seattle despite Seattle not even scoring last week. I think Seattle is dead. I think that when it comes to the Seahawks, they know they're done. They know that this is not going to work for this season. And number 3 is that the Falcons have a little bit of energy. They hung around with the Saints. They hung around with the Rams. They're just not completing drives and just not winning games. They're not finishing. And I think in this game, they will finally finish and do what they need to do to win games. So I like the Falcons to get a big win in Seattle and improve to 1-2. Give me the Falcons to win 30-17. The San Francisco 49ers at the Denver Broncos. San Francisco is favored by 1.5 against Denver. I'm going to take the Broncos to win and upset San Francisco. This line has completely shifted. It was Denver favored by 1, then it was a pick'em, and then it moved in San Francisco's favor as soon as Trey Lance got injured. And I just like the Denver Broncos here in the spot. Russell Wilson, his career is 16-4 against the San Francisco 49ers. And under the Kyle Shanahan era, he has been 8-2. The Denver Broncos are pretty much handle everything they need to handle and pretty much pressure Jimmy Garoppolo from the right side where Mike McGlinchey's at. And I think that it's going to be an issue for San Francisco. I think they're walking into a trap. And I think that everybody in the public is going to be betting the Niners due to Jimmy Garoppolo coming back and potentially making an NFC championship push. I like Denver to win this game and to upset the San Francisco 49ers. Denver wins 22-19. Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Giants are favored by 2.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys upset and defeat the New York Giants and end their undefeated streak. Number 1, Daniel Jones has an 0-5 record all time in his career on Monday Night Football. Whenever he plays against good competition, he always loses. All right, he's like Kirk Cousins. I should have saw it last week with Kirk, but I didn't. But he is like Kirk Cousins. The matchup that I'm excited to see here is Micah Parsons against Evan Neal. That's the one I want to see. If Evan Neal holds up and pretty much protect Daniel Jones from turning over the ball, the Giants will win this game. But I think the Cowboys will, and it will show some urgency after beating the Bengals last week. And I think that with Daniel Jones being turnover prone at home still, not having a good stat line, I think the Cowboys can come into MetLife Stadium and defeat the Giants. Give me the Cowboys to win 20-16 over the Giants. Thank you guys so much for watching No Offseason Media. I'm your host, Amari Sports. Don't forget to check out the channel, click the notification bell whenever you need it, and don't forget to subscribe. But that is all for today. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you guys later. See y'all later. Peace. Hey, I know you see that subscribe button, and I know you see that notification bell. Why don't you just click it? Go ahead. And if you want to tune into more videos, just go ahead and look at this new video that I just posted right here, or go see some of my playlists on this channel.